Lucas, where have you been? I have been waiting for you for like about 2 hours. I'm sorry, Dad. I was talking with my friends and I didn't realize it was already late. You didn't realize? Don't you know it's dangerous to be out so late? Yeah, I know, but I was with my friends. I think you're exaggerating, Dad. Exaggerating? Then let me tell you a story. You will change your mind after this. It all happened when I was a child. I used to play with my brothers and sister in the park. Well, it was not a park. It was more like a cliff. We used to go there because it was full of sand. We could play different things there. We also played with our neighbors. There were a lot of children in the neighborhood we used to live. Anyway, we used to go to that cliff every afternoons. We went there at 3 or 4 in the afternoon until 5 or 6 in the afternoon. It was a regular day. I remember that day clearly. My dad had arrived from work with my brother. He used to take him to work because he is the oldest brother. They used to arrive at 2 p.m. When my dad arrived, we, my siblings and I, asked him if we could go to play to the cliff, as usual. He said we could go, but first, we had to wash the dishes. We didn't like washing the dishes, of course, but we have to do it. After washing the dishes, we were allowed to go to play. So I called my friends, my neighbors in this case, and we went to our favorite place to play. We were like 7 or 9 children, more or less. We arrived to that cliff. It was more like a small mountain because it was a little big. We went there and started playing hide and seek. My brother Jeremy and I went to hide behind one of the mountains. It was not very far. When we were there, waiting for our friend to find us, we saw a man. He was just standing there about 100 meters from us. We thought he was one of our friend's fathers, so we didn't pay much attention to it. Minutes passed and no one came looking for us. We were starting to get bored, in fact. We turned to see the man who was standing in the distance, but he wasn't there anymore. We even thought that we had imagined him. And that he had maybe been a ghost. So we got scared and started running to the place where my other friends were. Of course, we lost the game, but we didn't care much about it. We were shaking. We told our friends that we had seen a strange man standing there and that he was looking at us. They started laughing. They said that we had imagined it, but we knew we had seen him. They didn't believe us. We continued playing and we didn't see the man again. At about 5 in the afternoon, we went back home to have dinner. We also told my dad that story. I mean, that we saw a man standing there and looking at us. And that suddenly he had disappeared. But my parents didn't believe me either. They said I had just imagined that. And I started thinking that maybe, yeah, maybe they were right, and I had imagined him. So I just forgot about it. The next day, we went to the same place as usual, but this time we went with our bikes. We loved to ride our bikes on that mountain. There was only one bike for my brother and me, so we normally had to share it. I didn't have any problem with that, so we started playing hide and seek again, but this time with our bikes. So we went to the same place. There, back in the mountain, we were hiding. Suddenly, we saw that man again. This time, he was closer to us, like 50 meters from us. That's why I could see him more clearly. He was real. I hadn't imagined him. He was a tall man with beard and long hair. We thought he was homeless because his clothes were very dirty and we could hardly see his face because his hair was all over his face. He was there standing and looking at us again. He looked very weird, seriously. But he never came close to us. So we just stayed there riding our bike. We kept playing the whole afternoon, as usual. Then we realized it was very late for us. We normally went back home at 5 in the afternoon. But this time it was 6:30. It was almost night. We had been so entertained playing that we had not realized the time. I told my brother to ride his bike and that I could run to home. That way we could arrive earlier. So I started running and left my brother behind with the bike. When I turned to see him, there was a man standing next to him. That was the same man we had seen before. This time, he was very close to my brother. He was next to him. I didn't know what was happening, but suddenly my brother started crying. That man had taken his bike, so I ran back to him to help him. I couldn't let that man steal our bike. Of course not. When I got there, I told him that was our bike and that he couldn't take it or we will call our parents. He said he didn't care. He took the bike anyway. We started screaming, calling our friends so they can help us. Then the man took the bike and also took my brother's arm. He said he had a place full of cookies and candies for us, with more bikes, new bikes, and that he wanted us to go with him. Of course, we didn't go. I wanted to run to my house, but he was holding my brother's arm. I was so scared. I didn't know what to do. I just took a stone and threw it to the guy. The rock fell on his head and he started bleeding. He left my brother's arm. I took my brother and ran to a place my other friends were. I didn't look back at all. I just wanted to see my friends. I was very, very scared. Suddenly, we found our friends and we told them about the man. This time, the man was there, standing and bleeding. So everyone believed us this time. They started throwing more rocks to him, so he left running. We took our bike and went back home that day. I had to explain my father what had happened. This time, my friends were there, so he believed us, and my brother too. We never went to that place to play again. And probably it happened because it was very late. Now, do you understand why I get mad at you for arriving late? I was also with my brother and my friends playing. But there are always bad people everywhere. We always have to be careful, son. I'm just worried. You're right, Dad. I'm really sorry. I will never stay out so late again. Yes, I hope so. Now go to take a shower because we will have dinner.